Hello, welcome to the Superhero Show, a weekly roundup of all the biggest superhero news right here on IGN. I'm Daniel, and this is Chris, and I believe you've got the first story.
I do. The first story is Batman vs Superman. This news came out about a week ago, but it's been rolling on all week. Batman vs Superman isn't coming out next summer. It was due to hit screens on July 17, 2015, but it's now been pushed back to May 6, 2016.
It's a whole year.
A full 10 months, which is kind of disappointing, really. I was looking forward to seeing this sooner rather than later.
You could kind of see this happening, I think. It was a massive project to saddle themselves with. I think it needs a little bit more planning, a lot of casting going on. I think you've got to maybe educate a lot of people with it as well before springing it on them. Also gives you a little bit distance from Nolan's Batman.
I mean, there's been lots of different rumours as to why it's happened. Initially, people said it was because Ben Affleck had injured himself and hurt his leg.
Yeah.
The studio came out and kind of quashed that by actually saying that the filmmakers needed more time to realise their vision fully, given the complex visual nature of the story. So they were putting it down to the effects and such. But
this has had ramifications, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. Well, I was just going to say that there were rumours as well that potentially Warner Brothers were going to reveal it to be the Justice League movie down the line, and it was going to give them more time to retool the script and make that happen. But I don't know,
They should just, be patient and put in the legwork.
Well, I think some contract news came out this week that means that might not be the case, because Gal Gadot, who was cast as Wonder Woman, if you remember, a few weeks ago for this movie, she signed a 3-picture deal, and the 3 pictures they've said are Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman standalone movie, and Justice League. So at the moment, they're separate movies.
Yeah. But this has had big ramifications, not only on the 2016 release calendar, but 2015. So in 2015, there's now a space that Marvel have kind of jumped into the recently vacated space, and they're going to launch Ant-Man on that day.
Yep.
Edgar Wright's kind of comedy heist movie starring Paul Rudd and Michael Douglas.
It's good that's finally got a release date, because the first time Edgar mentioned that to me was about 7 years ago now.
Okay.
And that's a long time for that to be gestated.
He's just taking his time.
Maybe too much time. But and that's going to go head-to-head with Peter Pan now, which has moved into the Batman-Superman slot for Warner Brothers.
Peter Pan, kind of a superhero, probably not going to be in the Justice League.
No. But and so what does that mean for 2016?
That means Batman vs Superman is going head-to-head against a as-yet unspecified Marvel movie.
And have you got any idea what that might be?
That's where you get concrete information right here on this show. I don't know, it's another one of the Phase 3 movies.
Yeah.
I guess the one that has credence at this time is Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
That's the one that it seems rumours are building up around that one. It's the one they're doing in-house. Probably Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see that go head-to-head with Batman Superman. Batman Superman, massive recognition.
Yeah, if I was Doctor Strange, I might move, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what happens on that front. There's also been more kind of Bat talk. Jennifer Garner's been talking about the Bat suit. If you remember, Kevin Smith saw it recently. Zack Snyder showed him a photo, and he said it was mind-bending and very different to the kind of, what did he say? Very different from the Matrix-y X-Men Black Armor thing. She said she's seen the suit. It's unbelievably cool. It's a total reinvention. It looks great. But then again, she would say that, wouldn't she? She's married to Batman.
He looks rubbish in it. He looks absolutely... Do you think he's wearing it around the house? It's mowing the lawn. People just really need to get used to Ben Affleck as Batman. He's just going to wear it for the next 2 years. Every public appearance.
He can do whatever he wants. He's Ben Affleck.
Can he, though? He couldn't do Daredevil very well.
Fair enough, yeah, good point.
Yeah, she's going to be complimentary.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
More news on that one, as and when. I think you have some Hulk news, don't you, Daniel?
So Mark Ruffalo has been at the Sundance Film Festival talking about what he can do with the Hulk. Now, the Hulk traditionally hasn't worked as a standalone movie. They've had 2 cracks at it. Mixed success. I kind of like the Ang Lee one more than most. I thought the Incredible Hulk one with Ed Norton was average, had moments. And he's talking about what he could do as a spin-off movie, and he's kind of saying if he did a spin-off movie, he would have more influence on it as an actor. Very hard to have influence on the project when you're part of a huge ensemble in the Avengers.
And you're pretty much the least big star of that.
Yeah, and I think he works well in the collective. But he's talking about how if he did a spin-off, he'd like it to tackle things like fracking, sustainability, practical and cost-effective environmental change. There you go, that's a superhero blockbuster for you right there.
Has Mark Ruffalo gone mad?
I don't know. If you've seen Now You've Seen Me, you might think he might have. I think, you know, fracking could be definitely a new supervillain.
Yep.
It's probably the biggest risk we're facing as a society today.
He's the frack king.
Although the Hulk would be also very good at fracking, one would imagine. But I really like the Hulk as a character. I collected Hulk comics when I was younger. I love the TV series. I love the made-for-TV movies with like Thor and Daredevil. It's one of my first experiences of the Marvel Universe. But I have to admit, on the big screen, I think he works better in that ensemble.
Yeah.
Or, you know, the only time it's worked has been that kind of more long-form narrative where it's like a series of him being a wandering kind of angel.
Yeah, you don't want to see too much of the Hulk, I think.
No.
He should be, you know, shock and awe.
It's impact, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's why he works so well at the end of the Avengers when he just turns up, and that was one of the best bits in the movie for me.
We'll see, but I think we're all agreed that Ruffalo is the best kind of big screen incarnation yet, so he deserves a chance to have his own standalone. Whether it's the fracking Hulk.
I want the fracking
Hulk. He's also been talking about the Avengers Age of Ultron, actually. He's obviously read the script, and he told The Hollywood Reporter, it's better, it's cooler, it's more awesome. It's more awesomer, he said, which isn't even a word.
But that sounds very much like Hulk diction. It is more awesomer. I don't know why I did an Arnold Schwarzenegger crap impression, but yeah.
But that's kind of the bland quote. He's also said it's a little bit darker than the Avengers, and adds that it's also got Joss Whedon's incredibly witty and sly sense of humour. And that kind of follows up on what Scarlett Johansson said recently, where she also said the script is dark. So what do we think about this?
I think dark is one of those easy buzzwords that you circulate a lot around kind of superhero movies and superhero sequels. It's easy to say, oh, it's grittier, it's darker, but that kind of clashes with Joss Whedon's style, which is kind of a little bit lighter. And one of the reasons I think the Marvel Universe has done so well in recent years, and maybe films like Fantastic Four are a little bit ahead of the curve, is that they are a bit lighter, a little bit more jovial. They take it not so seriously. Like, it's great when you have characters like Tony Stark, who can be a mouthpiece for some of that cynicism. Whereas in the DC universe, it's all very somber and it's very po-faced. And it's great that they've distinguished them like that. So, hopefully darker means the stakes are a bit higher, rather than a big kind of tonal shift.
Yeah, I don't think we're talking Chris Nolan dark, are we? But in the same way that maybe Iron Man 3 address kind of the darkness that hit Tony Stark after the events of the Avengers. I guess there'll be some fallout from that in this film, and it needs a scary, nasty, unpleasant villain who does some really bad things. I think to up the stakes, because the villain was a bit unclear really in the Avengers, I thought.
Yeah. So keep it light, Joss. Keep it light.
Exactly. I think you've got some Stan Lee news.
Yeah, Stan Lee, creator of so many iconic Marvel heroes, is not in Guardians of the Galaxy as a cameo. But this should come as probably no great surprise. He's not made cameos in films where he's not created the character before, like Ghost Rider. He's not in the Ghost Rider movies. Interestingly, he is in the Captain America movie, and he didn't create that character. Okay. So there are kind of exceptions to this rule, but he's not in the Guardians film, even though he did create the character of Groot.
Right.
But the team, as they are now, is like a 2008 incarnation. And Stan Lee even said, I couldn't even tell you who they are. So there you go, Stan Lee, right on message.
But speaking of cameos, Samuel L. Jackson, his contract's nearly up with Marvel. He played a larger part in the Avengers, but he's cameoed in a lot of the movies. Do you remember what a big deal it was when he signed that 9-picture deal?
Yeah.
And it was so unique in the world of movies.
Yeah. It's gone by really quickly, hasn't it?
It has. So he's done 6 pictures so far. His 7th is Avengers Age of Ultron, and he's only got 2 left. He says, I'm running out of Marvel pictures unless they extend my contract.
Yeah.
But he said he would be interested in extending it if they were, so...
Yeah. And he's not popped up in the TV series yet, S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No, but there is talk of him doing that. But he that wouldn't be part of the bigger deal that he signed, so I think that's another deal.
And I don't think he'd ever get a standalone movie, really.
No.
I don't think it's the interest.
No.
No.
But I'm sure that'll happen, if we're honest. What else have we got? I've got some Fantastic Four casting news.
There's a lot of this circulating at the moment because it seems like there's an imminent announcement.
Yeah, so I guess a lot of people have been going into audition for the Fantastic Four reboot. Actors that have been apparently reading for the role of Reed Richards include Miles Teller, who was in The Spectacular Now, which I saw recently. He's really
quite young,
good.
Though, isn't he, for Reed Richards?
He is young, but he's really...
I don't know if that tells you a lot about the project overall.
I mean, everyone they're talking to is either young or looks young, though. He's great, though. He's very
baby Fantastic Four. It's like Baby Muppets.
He's very charismatic, though. I could see him pulling off. Kit Harington, who you'll know is Jon Snow from Game of Thrones, and he's in Pompeii this summer.
Yeah, as Sue Storm, so against type.
And another one for Reed Richards is Richard Madden, who's Robb Stark in Game of Thrones. So they're obviously watching a lot of Game of Thrones, the makers of fantastic.
It's a really lazy casting directors. Just watch Game of Thrones. He's good.
And then for The Invisible Woman, they're looking at Kate Mara, apparently, who's recently been
in a lot of stuff these days.
Yeah, recently been in House of Cards, and Saoirse Ronan.
Yep.
Fantastic actress who was nearly in Avengers Age of Ultron, wasn't she?
Right.
Reading for Scarlet Witch.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then, that changed. So
she's on their radar.
Yeah, and apparently the only person they're talking to for Johnny Storm is Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, okay.
Who's a great actor, I think we'll agree.
He's been associated with that role for quite a while now, hasn't he?
And then finally, Ben Grimm, no word on who's going to play the Thing at the moment, although Terry Crews has said he wants it, but...
Of course he does. Why wouldn't he want it? It'd be the best thing that ever happened to him.
Yeah.
I think they should go CGI this time around. I think the technology's a bit there. I think the suit... I thought it was good at the time. It was interesting. They did have that real-life character. But I think you've got to go CGI now.
Yeah, agreed. And that's about it for the news, apart from what's coming out not coming out this week, but there was some news about a future series hitting the Blu-ray and DVD, and that's Batman, the TV series, which I'm a huge fan of.
Yeah.
And it's never been on home entertainment, I believe. So that's because of some sort of legal issues there's been behind the scenes. They finally sorted all that out, and they made an announcement this week via Conan O'Brien.
That's where I make all my announcements.
Saying that it's all been sorted out and it'll hit shelves this year. Well, there's no exact release date, pricing or special features, but there's talk about Adam West and Burt Ward doing some commentaries, which I'm all over.
Cool.
And so that's it for the very first episode of the Superhero Show. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'd like to get your feedback and any questions you might have, and maybe if you've got any suggestions for who could play the Fantastic Four, let us know. The address to write to is IGN_UKfeedback@IGN.com. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and tune in next week.